In 1840, one man transformed travel in Britain. His name was George Bradshaw, and his railway guides inspired the Victorians to take to the tracks. Stop by stop, he told them where to travel, what to see, and where to stay. Now, 170 years later, I'm making 4 long journeys across the length and breadth of the country to see what remains of Bradshaw's Britain. Today, I'm leaving the green peaks of Derbyshire for the county's industrial heartland, travelling to the very origins of the Industrial Revolution, to towns and cities that were transformed by manufacturing, many of them created by the railways. Along the way, I'll be visiting the oldest working factory in the world. Made in England.
Made in England.
Does that make you proud?
Oh yes, that's what we like to see.
I'll be escaping from busy city life.
Well, we think it's Britain's first public park, laid out in 1814.
And I'll be discovering why Burton's beer is said to be the best.
2 weeks conditioning in the cask, a week in the pub.
And 10 minutes to drink.
You're a slow drinker.
Piva Burtonsky.
Piva Burtonsky.
All this week, I'm travelling from Buxton, along one of the earliest railway routes in England. Each day, I'll be stopping at towns and cities recommended in my Bradshaw's Guide, until I reach the end of the line in London. Having started from Matlock Bath, today I'll be covering the next 30 miles along the track via Derby and onwards to Burton-on-Trent. But my first stop is Cromford. Nowadays, the beautiful Grade 2 listed station is set in a rural idyll. Good morning.
Hi.
Can you tell me anything about that beautiful house on the platform here?
Well, it's the old station house that used to be the waiting room for the railway station.
And what is it now?
It's a guest house now, I think.
It's a beautiful station. There are just 2 trains an hour. But in Bradshaw's day, this was one of the Industrial Revolution's most important towns. This beautifully restored railway station at Cromford has a very important part in history. As Bradshaw says, here Arkwright set up his first mill in 1771. Really never was so much important history crammed into such a small half sentence as that. Richard Arkwright built several mills at Cromford in which he developed the modern factory system. It was a new way of working that was soon copied all over Britain. The first was a water-powered cotton spinning mill. And this is it, the first factory in the world. Because before this, people in the cotton industry had done spinning and weaving in their own houses, the cottage industries. Now Arkwright brings it all together under one roof, powered by water in a factory. Quite incredible to think that 240 years ago, there were no factories. This is the beginning of industrialization right here. In his new factories, Arkwright could process huge quantities of cloth very quickly, and the River Derwent provided a cheap power supply. The village of Cromford is not what I expected. It's much prettier. It doesn't seem like the place that would be, the very heart of the Industrial Revolution. But now I think about it, Richard Arkwright, of course, established his mill here, partly because he needed the water, and partly because his family lived at the local castle, Willersley. And actually, I can see an example of water power still operating, a water mill at the far end of this stretch of water. Arkwright's factory is now a museum, but nearby is the world's oldest factory still in use. It was set up in 1784 by Arkwright's finance director, Peter Nightingale, a relative of Florence Nightingale. His business partner was a Mr. John Smedley. Good morning, place. Oh, very historic room by the look. Hello, I'm Michael Portillo.
Hello, very nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us today.
It's great to see you. Ian McLean is one of his descendants. The Smedley family has been producing knitwear here for over 2 centuries. I mean, this is incredibly historic, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
What's the date outside?
1784.
84.
Yes.
So you're just 13 years after Arkwright.
That's right. So Arkwright was the first mill to be built, and then there were 2 others, and we were the 4th. And now the others are long since out of business, and that makes us the oldest manufacturing business in the world. Of course, the factory's been added to so many times over the years that it makes it almost like a rabbit warren. It's quite difficult to find your way around sometimes.
Parliament's just the same. You know, I was there 20 years, and I think by the end of it, I only knew about 1/10 of it. This looks pretty ancient through here.
Yes, I'll show you the original 1784 mill building, which is, of course, a little bit hidden within the structure of the factory
I mean,
itself.
1784, that is incredible, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, that's right back at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
The railways weren't here in 1784. So
No, that's right.
So the railways weren't fundamental to the development of this business?
Well, firstly, the canals came first in 1776. And then the first railway came in 1831. And
to where? Where did that come
to High Peak Junction at Cromford. I think it was integral, really, to the growth of the business.
The arrival of the railway in the 1830s transformed industry here. The High Peak line allowed local factories to transport goods all over the country.
So this is history and this is modernity here. So if we look in the historic part...
Do you mean literally you keep this as a museum? You don't use...
No, not at all. No. These are very much working machines which make the garments that we sell. What they do is they make individual pieces of the garments. So one machine will make the collar, another machine will make the front, and another machine will make the back, and then another machine will make the rib that goes around the arm. And then very skilled hand workers will then link by hand those pieces of the garment together.
But it really does look as though we are looking from, well, we are looking from one century to another.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these machines through here are the very latest technology.
When the newest machines were introduced in 2006, it became possible to make garments in one whole piece. These seamless clothes are meant to be exceptionally comfortable.
I think what's important is that whenever a new technology comes along, we're one of the first people to use it.
And you're not tempted to go off and do it all in China?
Absolutely not. No. We see the value of manufacturing in England.
The quality of the clothing is in part thanks to being washed in local spring water. It's unusually soft in this area and gives the cotton a silky feel. So here, these are sweaters and tops and so on.
Yep.
But you're also famous for long johns.
That's right, yes.
It's said that this is where long johns were invented. Morning. How are you? Good morning. Named after Ian's ancestor, John Smedley. Is there a special feel to being in a family business?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's not just my family being the owners, but there are many, many generations of people who've worked in the factory for us.
Good morning.
Hello there.
Good morning. How are you? Which one's Julie?
I am.
Julie, hello. I'm Michael. How do you do?
I am fine, thank you.
Have you been long in the business? Julie is one such employee whose family has made its living around this factory for 4 generations.
My grandma worked here, my sister worked here for a while, my daughter and my son, who does still actually work here as well.
Are there any other ladies who also have family going back like yours?
I don't know about the grandparents, but actually in this room alone we've got a mother and a daughter, we've got 3 sisters, and then we've got another set of 2 sisters. That's just in this room, so it is quite a family-orientated business, definitely.
And what is it that you're actually doing?
My job is I actually put the back neck labels in, which is the John Smedley, made in England.
Made in England?
Made in England.
Does that make you proud?
Oh yes, that's what we like to see. Made in England.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. It's incredibly rare to find a business like this. Not only has the same family run the company for over 200 years, but the employees stay generation after generation. A family supported by one industry, decade after decade, is a way of life which has all but died out. Hello, gentlemen. I'm now leaving Cromford and travelling another 15 miles down the railway line to Derby.
Good afternoon, tickets please.
Thank you very much. What time into Derby?
Scheduled for Derby at 14:22.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I don't know Derby very well, but I associate it with heavy industry, with aero engines and the manufacture of railway rolling stock. But I am looking forward to it because Bradshaw raves about the hotel where I'm going to stay. Normally only gives a hotel one line, but here, he says, it's gratifying to be able to refer to an establishment like this, which deservedly enjoys the highest reputation. It possesses all the comforts of a home, and there's no lack of the spirit necessary to provide to the fullest extent everything which can recommend it to its patrons. And then you have to kind of wonder what was going on here, because he goes on to say, it is conducted in the most able manner by Mrs. Chatfield, and it may claim to rank amongst the first hotels of England. Well, I'm afraid Mrs. Chatfield won't be there anymore, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless.
Mrs. Darby, please note our departure time is scheduled for 14:24.
Bye. Thanks. There's Mrs. Chatfield's hotel right there, which is not surprising really, because it's a railway hotel. Actually the second one ever built in Britain. So convenient for the passengers that they even built a tunnel underneath so that the baggage could be taken directly to the hotel from the station. And I'm in very distinguished company because Queen Victoria once stayed here. Opened in 1841, the Midland Hotel was one of the first railway hotels outside London and was reserved exclusively for first-class passengers. Thankfully today, you don't need an expensive ticket or blue blood to stay here. Hello. I'm checking in, please. Michael Portillo.
Yeah, would you just like to sign there for me?
Thank you very much. I'm going to go off and see some of the sights, so I'm not just going to go up to the room at the moment, but you know that I'm here anyway. Only the railway companies could afford to build luxury hotels. As well as catering for exhausted travellers, they generated a lot of extra income. So railway hotels were soon springing up at the ends of lines. The railways brought wealth and investment to small rural towns like Derby, transforming them into industrial centres. In Derby, Bradshaw mentions the railway sheds, but he also mentions an older industry, the silk mill, the first in England, built here in 1718. And it has the look of an Italian bell tower, and there could be a reason for that. The English weren't very good at making silk until John Lom stole the secret from northern Italy. And then an Italian worker, in revenge, murdered him in 1722. Lom's newly acquired spinning technology was soon copied throughout the region. By the 1860s, the Derby silk industry was booming. Bradshaw's guide says there are about 25 silk mills at present. That was one mill for just over every 1,000 residents. The wealth they generated led to some extraordinary acts of civic generosity, including a new park for the city of Derby. And Bradshaw notes that in Derby, not far from the station, is the new Arboretum, of 16 acres laid out in 1840 by Loudon and given to the town by Joseph Strutt Esquire, a noble gift estimated at £10,000, with a couple of Elizabethan lodges and entry gratis on Wednesdays and Saturdays. A noble gift indeed. Having made their fortune in textiles, the Strutt family wanted to give something back. At first, entry was free 2 days a week, but from 1882, there were no charges on any day. For the first time, the working classes could enjoy landscaped open spaces previously the realm of the nobility. It's a lovely park. It's got a beautiful topography. He's shaped the land. He's put in terrific trees. It's decorated with urns, fountains, follies, very Victorian and very, very lovely. Is that a black walnut?
It is a black walnut.
You must be Jonathan then.
You must be Michael.
Hello.
Hello.
Very good to see you. Jonathan Oakes, a tree specialist, plays a key role in the continued restoration of the Arboretum. This park is pretty historic. How important is it in history?
Well, we think it's Britain's first public park, laid out in 1840 and given to the people of Derby in 1840.
Laid out by Loudon. Who was he?
Loudon was a prolific author and a gardener, a landscape architect. He wrote a book, Arboretum Britannicum, which explained all the trees and shrubs that were available in the world at that time.
By the way, why is it landscaped in the way that it is? That's unusual.
The mounds are there to give a sense of privacy so that people on the other side of the mound don't necessarily know that you're there. It makes the place look bigger and feel bigger.
Oh, I mean, it really is strikingly unusual, isn't it? Today we're used to landscape gardens, but Loudon's design was revolutionary at the time. The winding paths, ornamental flower beds and isolated trees were designed to educate people about plant specimens. He even labelled them, an idea later copied by Kew. I mean, was this meant to be a place of leisure or a place of education?
Well, this is the interesting thing. The benefactor, Strutt, wanted a place where people could relax and enjoy themselves, but Loudon, the scientist, wanted a garden, a collection, somewhere that was scientific and educational. So inevitably there was some kind of a compromise between the two.
Thank you so much, and bye-bye. In an age when religion and a sense of duty were powerful influences, many entrepreneurs like the Strutts spent part of their massive new fortunes for the public good. During the second half of the 19th century, trusts, charities, foundations, and volunteering programs all sprang up. It was a golden age of philanthropy. Having shared a roof with Queen Victoria, I'm leaving Derby now. I'm going to Burton, the home of brewing. And Bradshaw says the great seat of Sir John Barleycorn is on the Staffordshire side of the Trent. Bass, Alsop and Worthington are the chief ale kings here. And acres covered with barrels and casks may be seen. Vast quantities of pale ale are exported to tropical climates and drunk by thirsty souls at home as a tonic. So there's something to look forward to. Platform 1B on time. The last leg of my journey today takes me from Derby another 11 miles south to Burton.
Tickets and passes from Derby Station to your destination. I'm in town, come right on down.
You're in good form today.
Tous les jours, monsieur, tous les jours. Tous les jours.
Tous les jours.
Tous les jours.
Merci, monsieur.
Merci bien.
The railway lines were critical to the growth of industry, but water was also instrumental in the birth of the Industrial Revolution. Used to power mills and factories, it also helped put Burton on the industrial map. The full name for Burton, of course, is Burton-on-Trent, and the water of Trent was very important also to Bradshaw, and he notes that the brewers, contrary to common usage, use hard water, not soft water. So I should be intrigued to find out about that. Burton-on-Trent, gateway to the National Forest. As soon as you come out of Burton Station, you can tell that this town is dedicated to a single industry, to beer. In place of the cask and barrels that was referred to in Bradshaw, these enormous, I suppose, steel vats of beer stretching to the horizon. Here, the brewing industry is still big business. I'm meeting Jeff Mumford here, who apparently knows everything about beer in Burton. I don't know what he looks like, but he says I'll know him when I see him. Mr. Mumford, I assume.
Mr. Portillo, I presume.
Jeff co-owns Burton Bridge Breweries, the largest independent brewer in town. Can we go and see your brewery?
You certainly can.
In this thing?
Yep.
Before the railways, there were only 10 breweries in Burton, but the number tripled after the station was built. No seatbelts?
Yeah.
25 ale trains left Burton every day, with breweries even building their own tracks to connect with the railway companies. Has this always been a brewery then, Jeff?
No, it was part of a brewery, not totally a brewery, part of Joseph Nunnally's brewery. And this was actually a small maltings, built in 1823.
Oh, there we are, 1823.
Yep.
And the MH stands for?
Malt House.
Good morning.
Michael. This is Bruce, the brewer of the partnership.
Michael Portillo. Lovely stench.
No, I think aroma sounds so much better than stench, if you don't mind. So what you're actually smelling is the aroma from the hops, which makes the beer bitter. The aroma will go up and improve the general aroma of Burton-on-Trent, and we put some hops in later at the end of the process to get the aroma of the hop in the beer.
How much beer will this thing make?
This thing will make 3,500 pints, which in terms of Burton's production is pretty small, because in every gallon of beer drunk in Britain, 1 pint of that is brewed in Burton.
1/8 of all the beer drunk in Britain is brewed in Burton.
That's correct,
That's
yes.
amazing.
And ours is a small proportion of that at the moment, but it's growing all the time.
How long does all that process take?
It takes a day to convert the malt and hops into beer for the fermenting vessel, a week in the fermenting vessel, 2 weeks conditioning in the cask, a week in the pub.
And 10 minutes to drink.
You're a slow drinker.
Today, Burton produces less of the country's beer than it did in Victorian times, when it brewed a quarter of the pints sold in Britain. For once, the English climate was helpful, for beer at least, being neither too hot nor too cold, but just right to allow fermentation throughout the winter. By 1890, there were over 30 breweries here, all exploiting a special local ingredient. Now, in my Bradshaw's guide, he says that, contrary to what is normal, here in Burton, you use hard water in the beer. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's the unique characteristic of the Burton water. It gives better hop utilisation, crisper, clearer flavours and lighter coloured beers. But only suitable for brewing ales. Down the road where they produce lagers, they take all the salts out of the water and brew lagers with very soft Pilsen-style water.
Burton beer was so popular during the 19th century that it was in demand all over the world. And this was the stuff that, according to Bradshaw, was shipped out to India, this sort of beer.
Yes, very much so.
And why? Why was Burton able to do that?
The purity of the water made the beer very sterile and just ideal for travelling a long distance.
Because it must have taken a long time in those days to get to India.
Yes, it took about 6 months.
And you're still making a kind of India Pale Ale, even though it's not going to India?
Yeah, the closest we can get is it sits there for 6 months.
Oh, I see. So
which is the time it would have
like the
taken.
voyage?
Yep. Short of putting it on a pontoon in the Trent, that's the closest we can get to it.
Of course, it was the railways that enabled Burton brewers to send their beer around the globe, and Burton had plenty of them.
Oh, it was the biggest private rail network in the country. It was said that no one could rob a bank in Burton because they would never get through all the crossing gates in time. Yeah.
Traffic jams everywhere.
Well, there were. I came in '64 and said I'd never come back to this place, but I've lived here for 28 years now.
Well, look, I think that's enough talking about it. Can we actually sample some, please?
I think that's a good idea. Come this way.
All right, thank you. The finished article. Cheers.
Cheers. But there is a more appropriate toast that was used in the courts of Russia with Burton beer. A lot of the beer went out to the Baltic and to Russia, and it was very popular in the Russian courts, and that toast was Piva Burtonsky.
Piva
Burtonsky. Although the beer industry is still going strong, there's been a cost. The natural resources around Burton were squeezed like a sponge. Coal to heat the brewing liquor, wood for the millions of barrels in which it was stored. Centuries of intense brewing have scarred the surrounding landscape. But that's being remedied. Burton is in the middle of an area being planted with millions of trees as part of the new National Forest. Set up in 1990, eventually it will cover 200 square miles. As I've travelled through the Midlands, I've noticed how much the landscape bears the signs of the massive changes between Bradshaw's time and today. But I've been struck by how many people and businesses can trace their roots directly back to Victorian times. When Bradshaw was writing, the East Midlands was at the height of the Industrial Revolution. And now, as you pass through the region, you're aware of the decline of mining and some deindustrialisation. But here in Burton, at least, brewing is an example of one British industry that's still very much in business. Next time, I'll be heading to the centre of the leather-making world. Walsall had a very distinctive stink, did it?
It had you could say it had a tinge. It had its own aroma.
I'll be travelling to Birmingham's Balti Triangle.
Pakistan is like my motherland, and I call England my adopted mother.
Try and make this quite elegant.
Very good, sir. Very good for the first try.
And I'll be visiting Bourneville, which some say is the happiest place in Britain.
Very pleasant, very nice. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.